What about the Twinkie?
The Gate is a horror movie from 1987. The best way to describe this is to get you to imagine the Goonies never found the map to the pirate treasure, but instead opened a gateway to hell. Or if that doesn't do it for you, how about Home Alone, but instead of defending his house against two thieves, Kevin reads the Necronomicon and accidentally summons a host of Lovecraft monsters from another dimension. I don't want to run the risk of overselling it, so I'll say The Gate isn't as good as either The Goonies or Home Alone. So why would you watch it? Well, it is quite unique in what it does. Unlike Monster Squad, which is a horror comedy with kids that came out the same year, The Gate, while having a few humorous moments, treats the events in a much more serious manner. The film understands kids in a way a lot of other movies fail to do. Their interactions feel genuine and they aren't afraid to throw a few friendly insults at each other. The main character constantly has a look of sadness on his face.
So sad.
He wants to spend time with his sister, but she's a bit older now and is torn between her brother and hanging out with her new friends. It adds a nice dynamic to their relationship. The sister's two female friends, and all of her other friends for that matter, were incredibly infuriating and quite often made me want to turn the film off whenever they were on screen. They would often moan at and ridicule the main character and his nerdy friend. The age difference between them doesn't make it any easier to stomach either. It's not a big part of the film, but it is one of the two major problems I have with the movie. The Gate does a great job representing childhood fears. When you're young, you look to your parents for safety, so the film sends them off on a business trip and leaves the kids to fend for themselves. The parents not being around instantly removes that feeling of security. At first the kids feel happy with their newfound freedom, but they soon have to face the threats of being all alone. It immediately makes you feel as though the kids are in danger, which of course they are. This is an 80s movie, they aren't scared of putting those kids in some real danger. As you would expect when you open a gateway to hell, there is a variety of creepy creatures. They use a lot of different techniques that blend together to create the little minions and bring them to life. They have stop motion, people in suits with forced perspective, it's great. A few of the effects are a bit shaky, and if you're of that disposition, you could laugh at it, but I found it added to the charm of the film. The different monsters are incredibly creative. You've got all these little minions which I absolutely love. They also have a giant demon monster which has a very interesting design. There's these horrible hands that come out from under the bed and try and grab the kids. When the kids try to leave, one of the arms stretches almost all the way across the room. This has to be something everyone is scared of when they're a kid. It makes you feel these kids really aren't safe, which they're not, of course, it's an 80s movie. The film pushes the age rating a lot considering it's a family film. You've got monsters, blood, scary imagery, and heavy metal.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
A zombie even gets stabbed in the eye. It's not as gory as it sounds, but they still have a fair amount of blood. Like I said, it's an 80s movie. The film would be terrifying for kids, but not all that scary for adults. It's not scary, it's more spooky scary. It still has its creepy elements and a fantastic atmosphere, and it's incredibly creative and fun. The Gate is only 86 minutes long, so it's on the short side, which makes it easy for a quick watch. You don't have to schedule your day around it like you do with some movies. Even with my complaints, I found this a very fun film overall. The creativity of the monsters and practical effects was great. The film does have a dog in it, and considering it's a horror movie, people will want to know if it survives or not. I understand people are sensitive about this stuff, so I'm going to go into a spoiler section where I tell you whether the dog lives. This also gives me a chance to talk about my second big gripe of the film, which involves the dog along with the annoying friend characters mentioned earlier. So the dog is kind of a complicated subject because they do a lot of things with it. The dog does die, but it also comes back at the end. The thing that irritated me is that after the dog dies, the sister gives the dog to one of her friends to take to the vet to be dealt with, but the guy she gives the dog to decides to bury the dog in their back garden instead. The guy carries the dog around for a while and it's not treated very tastefully. Although it is obvious it's some kind of teddy which lessens the impact, the implication still isn't very pleasant. Worse still, the two female friends of the sister make fun of the main character because he's upset his dog has died, and the sister doesn't even defend her brother. I would have murdered them. But the dog does come back at the end, and that is my second of only 2 problems I have with what is otherwise a great film. It would be great to watch over Halloween if you want something fun and not too intense. Thank you so much for watching, I'll see you next time.
Hi.